for it?
No, I'm just that good.
What's up, YouTube? It's Kate DeGrom. And this is the Philosopher Gamecast, episode 20. Finally, double digits. Alright, the theme music over again. Today we're going to play some City Skylines. Forgot to share the screen with you guys, but we have the usual panel here with Kenny and Justin.
My name is Guerrero Rodriguez. Eddie.
Share the screen.
I'm
Or
praying.
actually, if you go to the
I'll also share it on my timeline and
I'm gonna break the walls. I'm gonna watch us live as I talk.
There's gonna be like a lot of, unless you can mute us and talk to us.
well, you just have to. So we can hear you fine.
I've had no problem hearing you. Yeah, actually, I was just watching us live as we were discussing things live.
So you see the games?
Yeah.
Live stream.
Well, no, I don't see the game right now.
I see you. I see live stream. Wait, where's the live stream?
I'll send the link to you right now through Facebook.
Okay, I found it. Yeah,
I see the game thing.
This is our new game. I put them on limited money. You know, the different levels. Yeah, so today we're gonna play some City Skylines. We're just gonna. Yeah. Guess I'm gonna do this river. I think one river I'm going. The other river is gonna be clean.
A good way to do things, right? We could work towards the one of the wonders that gets rid of all that pollution. It's always a good Project Eden. Of course, with mine, I have a mod on that automatically unlocks all that shit. So my first starting area has like all the wonders. So
that's what I put on.
My biggest city right now has like 250.
Yeah, I'm not even close to that.
What do we got? Hold on. This game is really loud.
It can be. You gotta turn down the noise, the music volume.
It's starting to get
I can't see the game though. Am I supposed to?
No.
Okay.
Like we can't. We have to like actually go to the video and mute it and watch what Chris is doing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little bit delayed though. It's about like a 2 to 3 minutes delayed. If you click on it.
Yeah, but at least it looks good, you know.
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, let me check my settings. Let's put it at 720p here. So I have it set at 360p. This might just be a test cast. I might start another podcast here or something. Because, okay, what I'm seeing right now, it's not loaded in HD yet, but it's, yeah, it looks a hell of a lot better in HD.
Yeah.
Way better. You can actually see what you're doing, and there's like no lag on the mouse or anything. So
You can create a highway right away, but that's not. I wouldn't do that.
My city.
Okay.
Do what I want.
All right then. That is very true.
What I suggest you?
Hey man, it's his city, Justin. You're
I know it's the city, but like I suggest that he vote Bernie.
Vert. Vote.
Vote Bernie. Whereas he knows Vova de Bernocha.
Trying to figure out how to. Guess I'm gonna put like.
Yeah. Hey Chris.
What?
Did you say vote Bernie in Spanish? Is it Vova? Vova de Bernocha? Bernocha? Sure.
Chris, do you know Spanish?
Yep.
Okay, so you do it.
Chris is actually Mexican.
I didn't know if he was on. I didn't know if he was. I don't know if he was born in
Then,
America and he just didn't know.
Well, he was born here, but his parents spoke Spanish, so.
It's actually pretty cool. This is my local library, Dallas Library. It has on Galileo. You can now learn languages for free.
That is always nice.
I haven't looked at it yet because it's not completely done yet. But you can do like over 70 languages so far.
Hey Chris, you have the unlimited money mod on?
Yep.
Do you have the unlock all 25 squares on?
Yep. Well, I have the unlock all the whatever milestone.
Yeah, but you actually have to get a mod to do all 25 squares. Otherwise, it only lets you do like 9.
Well, you earn more tiles, but you have to get up closer to that million people thing.
Okay. See, I just went ahead and downloaded the mod to let me have all 25 tiles.
Or you could just do
Yeah, the mods I'm using were already built.
Into the game. Doesn't make you any less of a cheater, Chris.
Doesn't matter. Life is a game.
Anywhere you can win. It's ruthless, dog eat dog.
It should.
But vote Bernie Sanders.
Yes. Vote Bernie Sanders because it shouldn't have to be.
I'm gonna
In a lot of places.
how do I rotate the camera?
Middle click mouse button and move mouse. The scroll.
Hold it down.
Down.
The mouse button and move your mouse.
The scroll wheel. The wheel.
Yeah, the middle mouse button.
Okay. I have an idea. Be great.
It's gonna be great.
huge.
It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
We make the best taco bowls here at Trump Tower. I love Mexicans. I shared a funny picture earlier. It showed Hitler sitting at a table with a sandwich. We have the best kosher deli here at the Reichstag. I love the Jews.
Yeah.
In a world where one man must build a city against all odds. Except for having unlimited money. Because, you know.
Are you doing all one-way roads?
I don't
Not
know.
that I'm saying you can't because it's your city. I know, but
I can't tell. It says 2-lane road.
you are doing all 2-lane roads. That's why you have the highway signs up. All you have to do is just click on the road you want, and then click on that blue exclamation point, and you can just change all the roads without having to race anything.
Click on it.
Click on the road you want, as in the options. Down below in the tab. Oh, YouTube just put out. Okay, there we go.
Medium.
You want to make them
click on the road you want on your options on the road options tab. You know how you have
Down there at the bottom.
right there. Yeah, go over to your left. Those are the two. No. Stay on one way. Stay on one-way roads. Those roads right there in front. Right there in front on the very left. No, click on it again. Those two right above your mouse. Yeah, those are the correct roads. Click on that. Click on the one you want with the shrub trees.
One.
No.
It's hard because there's like a delay, so I'm like I don't know which one.
It's the two-way. It's the one. It's the one-way. It's the single-lane roads with the trees.
I'll explain it for Chris. You want all your
Two-lane
roads,
road with trees.
Yeah.
Well, you can do a two-lane or just do one-way. It doesn't really matter. But
It's really difficult to do shit one-way roads because you have to make sure they all, otherwise you're gonna have huge fucking traffic.
Which one are the two-way?
The ones that say two-way when you hover over them. Every selection, the small roads, medium, and large roads will have 3 two-way options and 3 one-way options.
if you see double arrows on any of the roads pictures that you click on, that's gonna be the one-way.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't want to see any arrows.
The lane road with trees.
Yeah, the trees and the value of the land. So
how do I change the ones?
It also apparently blocks noise.
How do I change the roads that I have here?
Okay, there's a blue exclamation point in the options. Where you know how you can change the curve of the road and everything over to your left, all the way over there by the green question mark.
See
it's a blue exclamation point.
Yeah.
You click on that, and then you just kind of click on the roads, and it changes. And you can just click and drag too, and then you just go all over the roads, and it'll change them all without having to click one individual.
Hey Chris, see where it says reach a milestone? Click out of that.
What?
See where it says reach a... Oh, yeah, there we are. I don't know how far behind I am. Hold on.
It's about a minute or two behind. It's about a minute or two.
Oh yeah, so this is going to help me at all watching this.
No, not really. Because he's already passed what I said don't click on, so I don't know what he's looking at right now.
Hey Chris, screen share in the Hangout.
Okay, that's what I was trying to avoid, but...
No, keep doing what you're doing with the other thing. With this broadcast. But like
screen share.
Like do both. That way we can see real time and you can...
You see it?
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead and set yourself to be the one where it stays.
Check something.
Okay, I'm talk about it.
Okay.
I am a racist. We're all racist. We're all sexist.
Grade all these roads.
And there's a really easy way to do it if you don't want to like sit there and click on each of them. You can, I think, isn't there a way to make like a box around all of them and upload them all at once? I think so. Or am I just thinking about zoning?
I think you're thinking about zoning. I think because I don't think you can do that with. But you can click and drag it. You can just click one and then drag all over the place, and it'll do it automatically. And this way you don't have to click on all the section points.
I don't think I have that much.
Nah, those look like they're good.
All my roads are gonna have trees. Well, be all fancy.
So, will it not let you do what you were doing with the better quality stuff and also screen share to us in the Hangout, or is it all on the same thing?
What do you mean?
Okay, never mind. I'm looking at the video and it's It's lagging on our side, but it's not lagging on the other side. I don't believe in miracles. We should make a street in the shape of
Hopefully I have.
Two people on a starship. They cannot run it alone.
I want to connect these, but I won't have enough room. I'm trying to spell out Bernie.
Buy the section of land next to that one.
Yeah, you can do that once you reach enough people, but you're gonna have to actually zone places.
I thought.
Wait, no, he can't zone them. No, but he can district them. Sorry,
How
district them.
How can I buy this land?
You can't do it yet. You have more population.
But if I did, how would it happen?
Click on that. Click on the globe down there in the bottom left corner. See that globe next to the achievements thing? Click on that, and it'll show like an. Oh no, you can already buy it.
Yeah, dude. I unlocked all like.
Okay. Yeah. Then just go ahead for wow.
Purchase all of this here
Expand.
because I am rich beyond all beliefs.
Now you're a man.
Beautiful.
See, that's what I was saying. In order to, you might have, if you wanted to get all 25 spaces, you'd need the mod, unless you wanted to wait to get the population.
Somebody actually made a mod on here for Grand Theft Auto 5. They created the whole map, the whole city of it. And there's a mod in it. Well, you can't. What you do is it loads to your saved games, and then you go load game, and then you'll see Los Santos. And you can actually click on that, and it's somebody actually created the whole map. When it starts out though, it only has like 60,000 people, and you have all your population is just screaming. Your population is screaming for housing and industry and commercial.
See that meme?
Not gonna work.
Why not? Just build a bridge, bro. That's what it is. But I shared a meme earlier. Said, what's the one state Hillary Clinton hasn't committed election fraud in?
Alaska.
The state of denial where all her supporters live.
I just figured that that was the state she was least concerned about winning.
Yeah. She didn't seem to be very concerned at all about winning Indiana. She apparently did not rally.
Hooray for Bernie.
And Indiana means die.
Running out of room here.
Did you end up going to his thing yet, or has he shown up yet?
No, we already voted here in Indiana.
Okay, so did you go to his convention?
That early morning I wasn't able to go. It was at like 8. But I did go and vote. And
Vote for Bernie.
I voted for Trump, obviously. obviously.
I know, right? Make it great again. It's gonna be
There you
good.
go. Bernie.
No.
The
I
last
voted,
E's kind of messed up, but
yeah. I voted for Bernie, and we won. Indiana won. Bernie won Indiana, rather, which means that Indiana won.
The funny thing is, you shared that. You know, you've shared it before, but it's been the super delegates that pledged their vote to Hillary, despite the fact that in the state, Bernie won.
Yeah.
And you posted their profile, you posted their links to their Facebooks and everything like that.
Yeah.
This last guy went on there, and I was just curious. I went on there and I started reading his post, and he was just, and you can go back like 3 weeks, and all you fucking see is, well, if you really believe this, vote Bernie.
Yeah.
People just went over there and spammed his whole fucking page. I'm talking about post 3 weeks old. Still had people commenting on it from like an hour ago. Vote Bernie.
Well, here's a weird nugget of truth for you. You know the hashtag dropout Hillary?
Yeah, I've seen it a lot from your page.
It originated in the Bernie Sanders dank meme stash on a thread that I was on, where someone they tried to make a hashtag surrounding it, and then someone else was there saying, well, she should just drop out, and then I was just like, hashtag dropout Hillary. Now I don't know for sure if that's the first place it happened, but it quickly spread if it was.
Hey man, you never know.
I think she should.
Social media is a very easy way for people to become known.
She needs to quit fighting with the party. If she's really for party unity, she needs to just go ahead and step down.
yeah.
Just leave it alone. You're rich enough already. You don't need any more power, you crazy lizard.
Lizard.
He's a lizard.
Army.
So someone posted a picture of a baby. She was holding a baby. Someone handed Hillary a baby and started crying. And then it was like, the caption was, when the baby realizes that it's not his diaper that's full of shit. But my thing was like, no, the baby's crying because it's not used to being touched by someone that doesn't have the natural warmth of a human being. Obviously, Hillary is a cold-blooded lizard. And Ted Cruz was the Zodiac Killer and still is.
Didn't Ted Cruz drop out?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so Trump is the only one in the Republican side now.
And to think, Carly Fiona had to fall off the stage for Ted Cruz too. That was so selfish of him to drop out after she did all that work. I mean, right in front of everyone, she just fucking fall on her ass. I mean, they're after it. She just introduced him as the next president of the United States, and what, he quits the night afterwards?
That's what she gets, though. Like, for doing what she did to HP. Because it was HP, she was the CEO of HP for 10 years. But what I thought was fun, have you seen the GIF animation where Bernie walks up to this black guy with like long cornrows on the stage behind him, and he goes to shake his hand, and he instantly shakes his hand like this, and then does the wraparound homie thing,
Yeah.
It was effortless, like he'd been doing it his whole life. Then you look at the picture wherever Ted Cruz goes to grab Carly Fiona's hand to raise her hand after he got done with the speech. You know how they do? Whenever someone's your running mate, you do that. Well, he sit there, they fumbled with each other's hands, and it was like she was trying to get away from his hand, and it was like, and then finally they got it up there. It's so unnatural. And then there's that other video whenever Ted Cruz punched his wife in the face and then elbowed her in the face trying to hug this dude who was behind him when he announced he was dropping out. The funniest caption I saw for that one was, sorry, whatever his wife's name is, it's really hard using this human body. I'm not used to it. Because, I'm sorry, Ted Cruz doesn't even look like a real human being. Like, he looks like something wrong.
Solar panels everywhere.
Solar panels on everything.
Like, it looks like he would have been possibly okay looking, but like in the 50s.
No, I don't think there was ever a time when his punchable face was, you know, just,
Well, I mean, I can't say shit about anyone being ugly, but
no, you look way better than he does, man. Like, it's something, he looks like a cross
that's not
between,
saying.
he looks like a cross between Nosferatu and, you know, any given guy who likes triples and his butt sneezing. I mean,
I think that's enough.
yeah,
If you keep it during the day at all times, if you go to nighttime, you're gonna find those to be useless.
I don't understand that. That's not how a solar plant actually works. So people who make City Skylines, those solar plants have batteries in them. They charge throughout the day and rely on the battery power that they have throughout the night.
Chris, you still have no people. How long has you been building this thing? Look how huge this thing is. You still have no people.
I'm just trying to get the foundation down, you know.
You might not want to build those power lines where your buildings are going to sit.
How do I get power over here?
You can erase them eventually.
Yeah, as things build, as they build up, they'll build next to the power sites first.
Okay.
As they
Get
build.
some people. Industrial zone will be all. Sure.
Yeah. Zoning your industrial first. See, I always like to put my commercial between my residential and my industrial.
I wouldn't build too much industrial.
Yeah, you're not going to need that much.
I would just build a tiny bit, because once you get the hospital, once you get the police station, once you get the public, the education system, if you just surround your entire residential area with that, your demand will drop like to nothing. It'll stay that way.
I don't care. I have a limit.
But it pollutes, and then your people complain and they bitch and they go.
They'll be all right.
He's here to make this city great again.
I'm gonna make this the best city
I'm the Bernie
seen, I
Sanders.
guarantee it.
I'm trying to make it better.
It's gonna
Don't
be a
be
good
Hillary.
deal. It's gonna be an amazing deal.
Dude, like really run this city like Donald Trump would.
Exactly. But supports
I tried
Bernie.
doing that. I lost money instantly. I rolled everybody's tax rate, and it cost me a ton to build a big, huge tree wall around my border. That's because it's the only real wall you can build.
See what I did?
A lot of money, a lot of effort, and then I ended up blocking off all my trucks from getting out of my cities.
See, if I wanted to, here's how I usually run my cities, right? I have the codes on or the mods on because who can actually run a city, and then I take the amount of money I'm making. I drop all the taxes to zero. I go into the options and make the entire city set up to where it's a big business enthusiast and a small business enthusiast, and I also give them all of the businesses tax relief.
That's what I need to do too.
While it's 0%, so that they have a negative 2% tax rate.
Taxes.
Yeah, so like that, whenever that happens, everybody's really happy that they get to live there in that great place. But so that only works because I have infinite money, right?
All these loans here.
Yeah. In the real world, if I went around and I made no taxes, right? All right, so all this industry is going to move in here because there's no tax rate. It's great. People are going to move in because there's no residential tax rate. There's no commercial tax rate. Everybody's moving in, and all this other good stuff, and they're trying to build the city up. But here's the thing: are they going to privately fund the good old education system and the fire department and the police and the hospitals? Are they going to privately fund all that? Well, they could try, but for the most part, that's not going to work. So, ergo,
It's only worked in small areas. In very few areas, and the people there can easily afford it out of their paycheck to pay the extra fee for the fire department and the police station. And the fire and police station and the health department and everything like that will of course, because the fact that they're wealthy, they're near a wealthy area and they're near a wealthy population, are well better off just by that themselves.
In the city in Tennessee where my wife, or city in Kentucky where my wife grew up, it's Hazel, Kentucky. It's right on
It
the
totally says Bernie.
right on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee, right south of Murray. You pay taxes in that city, and they have a fire department. You can choose not to pay the taxes for the fire department, but guess what? It happens only if you choose not to. If your house catches on fire, the fire department will show up, but they will only show up to make sure that the fire doesn't burn down anything except your house.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how a privatized system works. You know, but the firefighters who work in that job though are paid extremely well. It works in small areas. It wouldn't work for a big city unless, of course, that big city had a disproportionately large wealthy class.
No, even that's a little city, and it's like a tiny ass city, and the people there aren't wealthy at all. It is a tax. The thing is, though, is you can opt out of paying the fire tax, but the fire department won't put out the fire at your house if you opt out of it. So I think we could do that with other things in society too. So if you don't want to pay taxes for free healthcare for everyone, you don't need to take advantage of healthcare.
Yeah, but then when does one's stubbornness outweigh a good person's goal of providing free healthcare at all? I mean, people can be stupid, but they don't deserve to kill themselves by being stupid. Because, let's say they can't afford a cancer treatment, they can't afford an AIDS treatment, things like that.
Yeah. No, I was being an asshole. Obviously, if we had universal healthcare, even the people who griped about the taxes still deserve the healthcare.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. That's why I can. It's not something like that to me. I consider healthcare a right. So I was obviously joking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not like you can sell your own health to someone else. So it's not something that people should be able to make a profit on.
No, so no. Unfortunately, it has.
I mean, if I could go sell my health for like 50,000, no, more than that. How much is my health worth? $5 million. If I could sell like 25 years of my life for $5 million right now, would I? Damn right.
Yeah, I mean, you can though. There's people who literally survive on just either giving blood or being a guinea pig for human testing. I mean, there's people who literally do actually live on just selling their health.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about living on it. I'm talking about like, give me $5 million for 25 years of my life. I'm going to die 25 years earlier than I normally would, but I've got $5 million in the pocket now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really use it back then anyways. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, my point is you can't actually sell your health.
No.
But if you could, how would you?
I don't know.
You could sell your health if you could. Sell it to pay off your student loans.
Maybe not.
I like that meme that shows that person smoking a cigarette. It says smoking a cigarette takes 5 to 10 minutes off your student loan debt.
Yeah, basically. Eventually will. They may not though. You gotta be careful.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that article where they're talking about taking stem cells, putting them in, trying to actually revive dead people with them?
Yeah, actually, I knew about the company long ago because that was actually something that my father was interested in.
Do you think that people can be revived?
Yeah, that's how stem
Technically,
cells
they're not
work.
dead. Technically, they're not dead.
Well, I guess it depends how long
technically they're considered in stasis.
You're not going to be able to dig up a mummy and bring them back to life.
No, but but I mean there is some because especially like Walt Disney's never coming back. Even though the company's kept him, just the sheer amount of vein damage from the early. They used to not use the same. They use different chemicals now than they began with.
Yeah, they like by this point it's not feasible for him because of the standards were way different.
Yeah, and his veins are eaten up, they're disintegrated, and so he's not coming back. But there has been some people who...
I thought that was a myth that he got.
No, he got from...
Yeah.
Yeah, by the same company who Justin was talking about. Who's talking about they're gonna try putting stem cells into a human body in order to help it. Because basically what people do when they freeze themselves is that their mind is still good, but their body is failing them in some way. And it could be their fault. They smoked cigarettes for 15 years or whatever, or they didn't eat as well as they could as they should have. But basically
They drank a lot. What?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly.
A lot.
I mean, that also can impact your health, but but you have to be somebody who drank a lot, but was successful enough to afford $200,000 to put yourself in a freezer. Because that's a base cost. That's a cost, but you actually have costs like the USD. I think you have other costs too as well.
The Illuminati is in our hand.
What's up? Howdy.
Hello.
Hello.
Who is this?
I'm the Illuminati.
Oh, good.
Your voice is a lot different than I imagined.
How do we join the Illuminati?
Yeah.
I don't want to join the Illuminati. What is this? What is this?
Just be a shill.
Just be chill.
Just be a shill.
Is there like a upper type of Illuminati that not like the regular Illuminati that everyone knows about, but a higher form that we can join? Because I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be normal.
The 1% of the 1% of the 1%?
Yes.
There is the 1% of the 1%.
The hundredth of thousandth percent.
Yeah. Like the one person. Half of them.
I can just picture him. He has a cat in his hand. It's just like
from the neck up to the top of the tip.
Does the Illuminati support cats, or they like dogs more? What is it? What is this?
What kind of Illuminati do you think we're running? Of course it's cats.
Of course it's cat. Okay, I'm just making sure. The Egyptians too. I figure.
Well, they built pyramids with triangles on the sides, so.
No, but I'm trying to actually figure out who joined because I did share the Hangout link instead of.
It's Rhett.
Who is it?
Rhett.
Oh, hey, Rhett. Oh, this is a good friend of mine.
This is not the Illuminati?
No, it's not actually.
No, I'm just kidding.
He doesn't actually believe in the Illuminati either. We're all joking.
No, yeah, I'm joking. But I do picture they probably would be in favor of cats, though.
I'm sure they're watching it. Illuminati people.
Yeah.
If you are, like and subscribe. Yeah.
Actually, like the video and comment on so we can have something to talk about.
Yeah. But
The
no,
Illuminati Rev. That ad revenue.
Yeah.
That's how I get unlimited money right now. To their bottomless vault.
See, I don't understand why people are so against the Illuminati now. Like, if you actually go look up what the Illuminati was back in the day, like in France back in the 1700s and shit like that, they were a humanist group that was about promoting equality and shit. And I'm like, now they're the evil fucks. What the fuck happened?
It was because they were because media, movies, just people have turned it into this thing of, well, now it's controlling the world because you have the Freemason Society and everything like that. So
the biggest thing I hear
people
about
take these little groups out of context.
Well,
I'm betting it's because of the Catholic Church. After the Catholic Church put them down, they probably had a bunch of propaganda against them or something.
That would be religion for you.
Yeah, they were a secular group at their time.
So it was based on the ideas of the Enlightenment.
Yeah. So it's funny though. It's also strange to me that it's the name itself, Illuminati, the light bringers or the light. It's just like there's probably some fear. Like someone's gonna watch this, like someone like the Vigilant Christian or some shit like that. on YouTube and be like,
have to like and
Illuminati confirm. Alex Jones here. I don't know how much longer I can yell like this before my heart gives out.
That's murder pills.
No, I invited Rhett and probably you two also to my Critical Thinkers United.
How do I spread the power?
Like as things build, the power will spread naturally. Like I hardly ever try and use phone lines or electric pump at all.
Usually what I do is I
have to
connect. Yeah.
But no, you don't have to do that. You're good. You're good. You don't have to connect to no one. Make sure you put police departments and fire departments and all that stuff all over your area. So not that I'm telling you what to do with your city. I'm just giving suggestions.
Hey, this city is a free city. It's gonna be a good deal.
It'll be great.
It's gonna be the best deal.
It's a new deal.
No, not the new deal.
Trump to build your city. He'll put a wall around it.
Bernie's being covered by trees.
Bernie's gonna catch on fire.
Nah, man, he's green power, man. He's so much green power. There's literally trees blocking and growing out of his name. This dude's growing trees.
Just need to hook up to the trees and power.
Oh, you guys, I don't know if you guys heard about the story. I don't know if any of you watched Vice, or I think it's Vice.
I do.
But they had the story of like this guy. It was these two gentlemen in China, and it was, I think the title of it was, "He is my eyes, I am his arms." It was two men who've been friends since childhood. One lost his arms, one lost his sight. And they planted over 10,000 trees in what was previously known as a wasteland. They planted 10,000 trees in the span of like some 30 years. Well, they say they're green soldiers.
See, whenever you said he is my eyes, I am his arms, and all that stuff, it reminded me of an episode of Naruto. Of all things.
And that reminded me of that show, The Americans.
Power to the Bernie.
Bring some comedy in your life.
We're trying to run this city like it's being run by Donald Trump.
Good to hit. That's why we're covering
bankrupt right now.
We're putting up a 2-ball in front of Bernie.
Fortunately, we have infinite money, so it makes it okay. But if we didn't have infinite money, having the tax rate at an absolute 0 on everything would not help this city thrive at all.
It was the first time I ever declared bankruptcy for a city. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lower everyone's taxes to 0. I'm gonna make just a 7% sales tax, commercial tax, and only a 5% industrial tax.
Trying to make a libertarian paradise or some shit.
And I did that, and I declared bankruptcy, $100,000 in the negative. That city is dead. There are a lot of people left it.
Yeah. The most amount of people I ever had leave my city at one time was whenever I connected the water pumps to the wastewater, and everybody was getting shit out of the tap.
Shit.
They already do though. That's the thing.
Everybody left because they were like, "This water is shit."
You gave them Flint water.
I gave them stuff worse than what's in Flint, Michigan right now.
I was watching Mike Rowe, the guy who did Dirty Jobs. He has this picture in his bathroom, and he shared it on a podcast. He's sitting next to a toilet, and this toilet is just gone. I don't know what came out of it, but it was horrendous. Apparently, what happened was that this elderly woman was living in this house, and she flushed her bottom downstairs toilet, and apparently at the same time, in that line, that connects her and her neighbors and everything like that, there was an explosion, and all the sewage from all her neighbors around her came out of her single toilet.
Oh man.
And it flooded her bottom area of her house. It was all her friends' sewage and everything.
That's very unfortunate. I mean, I would not want to have that happen to any of my neighbors.
No, that's what Mike grew up in Dirty Jobs. He was there because he was part of a cleanup team who had to go down there and fix it.
I thought you were going to say Micro was like in Flint, Michigan, and he was like, guys, I'm sorry for kind of being really conservative in some of the things I've said. I now realize the folly of my ways because look what happens whenever you give the reins to business interests concerning basic things like water.
I'm going to put these offices next to this landfill.
No, I mean, Micro, he's not a conservative. I wouldn't even describe himself.
Give the office workers something to kill themselves over. Put their offices right next to that landfill.
I did.
Tell the people in the office to keep a gallon of bleach right under their desk.
Never gonna give up.
I think that you should also hire a whole bunch of Bill Lumbergs to go work in the offices. That way he can be like, so, did you hear about those TPS reports?
Oh, you have a crime problem, my man.
No,
Really
I
bad
have
one.
no
Oh my
police.
gosh! Oh my gosh!
He's not going to have any police.
No police.
No police, no firemen, and it's all in high residential areas. Oh, and you have a dead person too.
Yeah, like I built this city way too fast.
Who told you to do that? Come on, Chris. I told you to zone a couple of areas, not the whole thing.
It's like what I said earlier, right? We have the power until we're told we don't.
Hey, but hey, we're Donald Trumping this thing, so it's gonna be huge, regardless of the cost. It's gonna be huge. We're all gonna win. It's gonna win. You're gonna be tired of winning. All right.
I can build a good city.
Burn
know
some
my cities.
garbage.
We're gonna ruin it.
I have lots
be
of
the
money,
greatest thing
therefore I
alive.
can build a city.
Hey, Kitty.
Yeah.
Your Donald Trump sounds, no offense to homosexuals, your Donald Trump sounds a little homosexual.
Trump is a homosexual.
That's an insult to homosexuals.
That's because
It's an insult to homosexuals.
Yeah, yes it is. Because Donald Trump isn't gay, and if he was, he'd probably be a better person.
Donald Trump is an insult to
motherfucker who everyone hate and want.
Bet you he'd turn gay if somebody paid him.
I don't know about that.
He might switch that opinion real quickly if he thought he'd get him an election.
Oh wait, don't you know? Donald
No,
Trump
no,
has
no.
more money than anyone. You
He's
can't
gonna-
pay him
he-
enough to do anything.
On National Pride Day, he's gonna take a picture of himself on Twitter in a gay bar sucking on a dick lollipop, saying, "I love gay people."
Yeah. No, Donald Trump already has come out pretty much saying that he doesn't. Okay, here's the weird thing, right? You would think all of the religious right who would normally be voting for someone who's more religious, they're voting for Trump, right? And the weirdest thing about this is Trump is not that conservative when it comes to his social stuff. Like, aside from being a total xenophobe and being a total, dick butt, or like what's the best term for it? Despite being a very, very, very not politically correct, ridiculous, xenophobic, fascistic asshole, he has not really criticized the LGBT community, and he's actually been against the whole debacle in North Carolina and other states where they're having the bathroom laws, which just goes to show that obviously Donald Trump used to identify as a Democrat, but that's not the real issue. It's he pretty much is. He pretty much is to Hillary Clinton what. Okay, Hillary Clinton is the Donald Trump of the Democratic Party, just to put it lightly. And Donald Trump is the Donald Trump of the Republican Party. And what that means is that neither of them are really Democrat or Republican. Neither of them are really liberal or conservative. If anything, they're like weird neoconservative, neoliberal, corporatist, fascist kind of authoritarian, non-radicalist, optive center. One of them doesn't know anything about what they're doing, and the other one has enough people around her who do know what they're doing to try to actually do something effectively. So, like, for me, it's this is the weirdest election I've ever seen, ever. And so when people want to come to me and tell me what they know is going to happen, if there's some sort of person who can predict the future because of past events, I look at them and I think to myself, I've seen other elections. I've read through our U.S. history about other elections. None of them come even close to how ridiculous this one is.
Yeah, but I mean, just getting to this point means that in the future it's likely just not going to get better. You know,
I can't,
this time it ain't happening again.
Next election.
One thing this election did was it got people more against the system of how we do elections than I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again, the general public still does not seem to give a shit.
I don't know.
The general public does not really seem to still give a shit.
I'm sorry, but when people say general public, like the totality of everyone in society, of course, does not all give a shit. But a lot more people than used to now do actually give a shit.
Yeah, but that's still saying a small minority. Wait, it's just a tiny bit bigger. But
yeah.
even that small minority has a small minority who really only pays attention.
Do you know how many times this election cycle that Bernie Sanders has broken records concerning the amount of people that actually showed up to the rallies?
I mean, has he reached 100,000 people?
No, yeah, he's gone over the top. I'm talking about rally-wise. Like,
has he attracted 1 million people in a city of, say, 7?
No, it's not quite like that. I'm talking about a record set. Like, what I mean,
it's not necessarily something that's successful, though. That just means that he's bringing a lot of people.
You have to understand what that means, though. You have to understand what it means when you've got 50,000 people standing there. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, you've got everyone's attention. Sure, you do have most people's attention. Most people can't show up because they for some reason have something else that violates their schedule for that time being or whatever. But whenever you actually have between 47,000 and almost 60,000 people show up for you in New York, despite losing New York for some reason, which we've gotten into before. The thing that I bring up is the fact that the DNC has come out and told Bernie Sanders supporters to behave at the convention in Philadelphia, to me tells me that they're afraid of us. And it's
think of some of the past things that she's had to deal with, whether it be being shouted at to the point where she just walked away at that recent university visit,
a reason for that.
Or whether it be her trying to give a speech to a couple people in a room and this lady screaming at her and not letting her answer the question.
There's a reason they're screaming.
There's a reason for that, but that also shows you that there's legit. Then on her side, she can obviously understand that there'd be legitimate things legitimate reasons why she would ask that people behave themselves.
Yeah, but
because there are people who go there for her
protection.
The Bernie Sanders standards, they're not making people afraid of them. They're making people. They don't want basically the nuisance of having people who are going to ruin their night. They're going there for Hillary. They want to see Hillary. They want to hear Hillary talk. It's for Hillary. And what they have is they have Bernie Sanders supporters who go, oh well, you're just afraid of us. No, we just don't want to deal with the yelling and the not letting her speak and not being able to hear her, things like that.
Okay. Whenever the video I saw most recently, whenever Hillary goes to try to talk to these people, you hear some people in the front of the crowd, for the most part, going Hillary, Hillary.
Well, the majority of the crowd.
Back of the crowd is going boo, boo, and then the person filming, the people in the front start screaming at her, but for a very legitimate reason. They're asking about the human rights activist travesty that went on in Honduras concerning her. They're asking about the people of Haiti that she screwed over. They're asking these questions because
they're yelling. They're not asking. They're not yelling. They're not getting one-on-one discussion. They're not. As she goes into the crowd to visit people, they're not bringing it up. Then they're sitting there. They're yelling. They're shouting. And the majority of the crowd was there to see her. I listened to the things. I listened to the event with headphones on. The majority of the crowd when she showed up was cheering. It was only at the very end when she started speaking that the front of the crowd, you could barely easily tell, was the front of the crowd, started screaming. Especially the guy holding the camera started screaming at her, and you couldn't even understand what they were saying.
Okay, but no, like I can actually understand a good majority of what they're saying to her, and the way
we have 4 to 5 people yelling at her at the same time about different things.
It's good that average people hold people like Hillary's feet to the fire. It's good to keep pressure on.
You guys have your campaigns where you get to go see Bernie, you get to go hear him talk, you get to enjoy yourselves. Hillary supporters want the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why they asked you guys to go ahead and behave yourself this time, so that this way everybody can have equal opportunity to enjoy their candidate choice.
I think it's good to have a healthy disrespect for authority, though.
That's fine, but you gotta have at least some respect for the process.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. I'm talking about the convention, right? So this is both our people and their people are going to. My thing with this is it's a little more important, it seems, to the Bernie supporters like myself than it seems to be important to the Hillary supporters. The things that
they have their rationales as you have your rationales.
Yes,
you
but
guys, for instance, you guys seem to hold the opinion that one has to make one action in life, and then that because they made that one action, they support it throughout their entire life, and if they change their mind, suddenly they're flip-flopping.
Yes,
people can see the results of their consequences years later, and then regret the decision, and then go fully against it. But in this case, you're not allowing her. In this case, it doesn't seem like that's being allowed. Now, of course, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Hillary is innocent of any of the charges. I'm just simply saying you can't use. People are using anything they can grab onto and they hold onto, and they don't really let nor do they let her answer, but they don't give her the benefit of the doubt.
No, here's the problem.
It's constant attack. Over the course of years. And the people who are attacking her aren't interested in the actual answers. Not interested because they already have in their own mind what they think is already the truth.
Kenny, no, but you can actually go research this stuff, and you actually find out that her positions change when the polls change. It's not like she comes out and says, "I'm so sorry."
Polls haven't always been given, though.
It's never gradual either. She's literally
some of these things, like what I've seen is
weeks.
What I've seen is videos. What people do is they take videos, they take early shots of her when she first, like the NAFTA thing that was on your Facebook page, Justin. I think it was on yours, right? And she first supported NAFTA, and it was likely because Bill was doing it. But she supported NAFTA. Years down the road, now I'm not saying this is the reason, but she then went against it. Now, yes, you could say, well, it's because of polls, because the Democratic Party went against it.
Because it was a disaster, and after it was a disaster, she doesn't have to.
Isn't that a good thing if she went against it afterwards, realizing it was a disaster, instead of supporting the idea, despite the fact that it failed? That's what the Republicans do.
To begin with,
that's what the Republicans do. Well, but she didn't know the exact consequences of.
Then she shouldn't be allowed to be on a panel making a vote about it.
None of the people on there knew that what was going to happen.
Then none of them should be in there.
That's like saying that we shouldn't have done the ACH because we didn't know what the consequences would be. We took a leap of faith of that, and that's the closest healthcare system.
Where should I put the Trump Tower at?
Yeah,
there is a time when she knew the consequences of free trade agreements, and she still came out in favor of the TPP.
Yes, and that's exactly my point. Is here's the problem. A trade agreement like this is a thick bundle of fucking paper written up by lobbyists. Now, if you actually read through it, the damn paper, it's not that hard to see what the outcome is going to be, and that's the reason why Bernie Sanders was against it, because he read the motherfucker. So if you go through and you read it and you're like, oh, this is going to fuck over us big time, you don't just blindly push yes on your good old vote station while you're a senator or a member of the House. you actually vote no and are like, I read this and it's not good for us. Well, we're getting paid to say yes, so we're going to say yes anyways, because that's how it works. I'm sorry, but you can't tell me for 1 second that she went through and thought deeply about her own beliefs and convictions concerning.
I'm not saying that's her reasons. I'm not saying that's her thought process.
No, let me finish this. Like, I can't claim to know what her thought processes are, but I can follow her actions and judge her by them. Now, it would be a different case if Bernie wasn't running at all. Bernie never ran in this campaign. I'd probably end up voting for Clinton. But here's the difference. Bernie did run in this campaign, and compared to Bernie, Hillary is not a worthy choice.
Right, I understand. I'm not in support of her. I'm not saying I support her. I'm just saying there is some legitimate reason to her saying, reporters, can you manage yourselves at the convention?
Yes,
because you guys do have a tendency to attack like wolves.
Yes, there is a legitimate reason
there's
for
no
that.
benefit of the doubt given. There's no, because you said you would vote for her.
So much is at stake right now. So much is actually at stake right now for us and for the world that I would not really demonize, and within the context of history, a violent revolution at the convention in Philly. I'm sorry. And I posted a Facebook thing saying that there's not enough jail cells or cops in Philly to stop all the supporters.
Right, I saw that.
If we want to rise up, we can. We have the power until we're told we don't.
Right, but okay, now you say you're okay with violence, right?
I'm not okay with violence, but whenever you're weighing that against what the potential violence that will occur in the world with either a Trump or a Hillary presidency, whether we're talking about the stupidity of a Trump presidency that will completely destroy the country, or if we're talking about the ridiculous warmongering side of Hillary Clinton, it will continue us down the path we're currently on, which is also a path that will fuck up us and the world in the long run. When I say the long run is important, I'm not just sitting here like, my grandchildren are going to be affected by this. I have a daughter, and it's very likely this stuff, if Hillary or Trump get elected, will heavily affect her and her ability to succeed in this world and have any quality of life. So I'm sorry if I feel like it's necessary for us to rise up.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, you gotta understand how you sound a little bit right now. I mean, you kind of sound like some people who cling on to their guns.
I don't have any gun.
What I'm saying is, that sounds like the same type of rhetoric. Oh, look at all the dangers in the world. I gotta have this gun because we gotta overtake the government. They're gonna
to get us. It's about the fact that Hillary is not taking climate change seriously enough to actually put forth a realistic. Or when I say realistic, I mean something different than her. She says all the constant incremental change and crap like that. What we need if we want to realistically combat climate change is very effective, harsh action now.
Yeah, but as my understanding, there's no point in changing anymore. We're already past it. We can lessen the harm.
No, we're not past the 445 mark yet. We're not past the tipping point.
Oh.
So we need to stop it now, before we get there.
Right. Okay. Now the only issue is how the United States is fine. California has cleaner air.
No, but the entire climate.
Right. What I'm saying is,
it's easier in Canada right now. I mean, do you think that has something to do with the climate? The fact that we've got such a ridiculous fire going on
in a traditionally wet area.
Yeah. So what I'm saying by this is, you want to see real war and you want to see real death and destruction. It's not going to be at the basis of a revolution in America in the Democratic Party that may take the form of actually taking control physically of it. It's going to come from if we don't, and we lose beneficial resources we must have, otherwise we will war all the time, like clean water, like the ability to grow crops properly in our world. If you have an issue where, this is why Bernie Sanders points out that the biggest issue in Israel and Palestine is the lack of water.
Yeah.
Water is the driving force underneath every other economic turn point in society. So, yeah, you're damn right. I would be willing to get violent if I had to. I'm not going to throw the first punch.
Obviously.
But you know, if we physically need to take it from these people and give it back to the people, regardless of how many people have voted for Hillary, I'm sorry. There comes a time when the principle of the situation is more important than how many sheep you can convince to follow you.
But how would Spock do it?
I'm not Spock.
You're not Spock, right?
I'm
but
being way more
you're on that type of intellectual level, so you're capable of thinking in that type of in his type of logical, rational way.
Okay, here's what I think, right? You know how whenever Iceland found out that their prime minister was involved with the Panama Papers and they made him resign by going to their own parliament area and throwing eggs and yogurt? I want us to go and throw eggs and yogurt at Hillary.
Well, that's not the same type of violence. I would be against. You know, that's high school prankish type of stuff. It's not anything to you know against.
I don't want anybody hurt or killed, obviously, but I'm saying it came to the point where they were physically attacking us. Well, then. But people in our country would get arrested for throwing eggs and yogurt, and it would be called assault. In their country, they went and demanded that he step down. Because of that, they united as a people. It's not all the people of the country who were there, but it was enough of the people that it represented. It represented the people.
Right.
The same thing can be said with Bernie. When you've got that much grassroots following, you are representing the people. When I say the people, I'm not talking about every single person. I'm talking about the people who have taken the time to understand the issues.
Right, yeah, the unfortunate part is that everybody says that.
Yeah, but the difference is between the people who can or who have and who haven't actually gone into the issues and looked for an actual solution is the people on the opposing side from where I would stand can't actually fully demonstrate the efficacy of their ideas. It always comes down to, you can't do this, it won't be that effective. The criticism of your own ideas before implementation, even though the action of their ideas that are currently implemented, you can clearly see heavy faults. It works the same way. So if we implement our ideas and whatever, and they don't work, then by all means, criticize to get them corrected, right? But guess what? We have enough case evidence to suggest that democratic socialism as a model for the economy and for government works way better than what we currently do. So it's worth a try. Right. It's definitely something we should do, because what we're currently doing is inevitably going to fail a lot sooner than what I think some people had expected.
Yeah, I mean that's very true.
Yeah, the economic situation can't last this long either.
Well, the funny thing is that the economy is actually growing.
Yeah. But it's not going to.
There's growth, but this won't last.
Oh no, I mean
it's too unstable. It won't last long if
too
we
unstable
keep up like
manner?
this.
In how the wealth is dispersed. The economy's doing a lot better, but who's seeing it? It's not us.
So you mean in that context?
Yeah. It's not us who's seeing the better economy. Hell no, it's not us. It's the bank executives and the hedge fund managers who are raking in ridiculously more than they did before the 2008 collapse. That's why one of Bernie's biggest talking points is that the fact that almost 90% of all new wealth in this country is not going to the middle class or the lower classes. It's going to the top.
The place it's always been.
Top 1%, the top 1/10 of 1% of people. So it's in that degree, the economy's doing better as far as stocks go, as far as business profits go, but the people aren't. The people aren't seeing those benefits.
Well, I mean, there's been slight payroll increase.
It should be $21.73 an hour if it were fair.
My job is not worth $21.73 an hour.
Every job is worth whatever it takes for you to live.
Actually,
that's way more than we need to live. You gotta understand, my mom's been at Costco for like 20 some odd years, and she makes that as a standard wage already. She makes like 32 on Sunday. Okay, but that's for 20 years worth of work, though. There's no you may need that in cities, some cities certainly. I mean, yeah, the cost of living in cities, taxes alone, all the fees you have to pay for when it comes to living. You know, I mean, I get it. Yeah, in cities definitely 21, 15, 17,
okay.
but not in
Now,
Georgia.
hang on.
Not in Dallas, Georgia. Dallas, Georgia doesn't need $21 an hour. I mean, that's way more than people out here really. I mean, they would have more money than they needed, and then at that point, they would likely spend it foolishly.
Yeah, but they would spend it nonetheless, and it would stimulate the economy.
Yeah, but they would spend it foolishly, which means that they wouldn't spend it on things that actually.
When people
Right.
have more spending time.
Or anything like that.
I think Rhett wants to get out of full thought.
Okay. When people have more money to spend, they're going to go out and spend money more frequently. That increases demand. That's better for the economy overall.
Okay. Well, does the United States make shirts? Does it make shoes? Does it make tennis balls? Does it make baseballs? No, it doesn't make any of these
No,
things.
because
These are
of
the things we spend.
outsourcing.
We don't make
The
TVs,
jobs moved.
but we shouldn't make those things. We should make those things because those things aren't. Those things can't economically provide for an area. You're only going to have low wage for those jobs. Okay, we shouldn't be making it. It should be fully automated. Okay, and most of it is, but you still have some countries, you know, that do the shirts and the shoes and everything.
Well, we do make shirts and shoes here.
We don't need to be manufacturing anything. Except for big technology, don't get me wrong. Big technology, planes, aircraft, rockets, huge computers, robots, whatever.
Yeah, the Rust Belt would
Technology-wise, that's the
disagree.
type of manufacturing because that brings in a lot of jobs. You have to have very skilled, educated workers doing those jobs, and they make awesome money. But when it comes to regular manufacturing, that demand, that crazy money that we actually everybody had would go towards instead of the actual things that provide wealth. It would provide like short time stimulant wealth, but it wouldn't provide long term.
No, here's where I think you're wrong.
Because you're just eating up resources. That's all you're doing. You're not actually really putting anything.
There's one thing I think you're wrong about. I think if people were paid, and when I said $21.73 an hour, what I meant by that is the average in this country. If you wanted to have a living wage, not just a minimum wage, but a living wage to cover all necessary costs of living for one person, that's the average in our country for what you would need to make.
I think cities ruin that number because in Dallas, Georgia, you don't even need anywhere close to $21.36 to live comfortably. I'm talking about your rent is paid, your bills are paid.
Hold on though. Whenever you say you don't need that money, who's to say who needs what money? Because we're talking about people who could pay that much, but are taking ridiculous amounts, obscene profits. So if we're talking about someone at the bottom, who, let's say you do live in Dallas, Georgia, and all of a sudden you are making $21 an hour, I don't think all of that money is going to go to frivolous, ridiculous things to spend. I think a bit of that money will go towards things like getting a house, actually using that currency to buy real wealth. When people get paid more than they actually need for an area and a community, guess what happens to that community? The standard of living in that community goes up, and so does the property value. So does the education system. Everything about being paid more does good for the community you live in.
Well, except for the people that it disproportionately displaces, which happens nearly always.
Yes, but that's always.
That's what gentrification is. That's the people who don't have and cannot make that new wage being pushed out of the areas due to the new. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
But that's why the minimum wage needs to be set and continue to rise with inflation or whatever happens. Not necessarily at a full living wage like I'm talking about, but at least 75% of a full living wage.
Wait, well, Seattle did the $15 an hour, right? It was the first. Okay, so how's it doing?
It's doing great.
I heard people lost jobs.
No, they've had regular rate job growth, plus the cost of items and cost of living has not gone up very dramatically. It's like 3%.
There are cities that have done it, and it's had little to no effect on the job market.
Well, I mean, it necessarily wouldn't because again, it isn't really effective. It affects the bottom, of course. It isn't
disappearing.
It's because you're Donald Trump, Chris.
Everybody's like,
that's like 340 people.
I wonder how many people will leave the United States.
He needs that automatic bulldozer. That's what he needs. He needs that automatic bulldozer.
Where is that? How do I do that?
That's a mod.
Save your game. get the automatic bulldozer mod and put it back.
Use it to bulldoze Mexico.
Okay, but I actually had a question. We're going back to earlier about climate change. Bernie Wood, he's from Vermont, and Vermont used to be, believe it or not, Vermont wasn't always green. It basically, the timber industry came in, wiped it out.
Well, nowhere was always green.
Well, no, but it wasn't always, as environmentally conscious, aware. Things like, it was an advanced state. It gave women the right to own land. It gave freed slaves.
It's kind of like how Bernie gets crap from some Hillary supporters, concerning his role in that nuclear deal, right? But they don't realize that nuclear plant was already there when Bernie came into position, and he was just trying to get rid of the waste.
Right, and I already said, that's an understandably hard job to do. There's only a few sites in the world that can handle nuclear waste, because again, you need an area that hasn't had seismic activity for tens of thousands of years. No seismic activity, no trembles, no tectonic plate movement, and there's only a few places in the world that has that, and they don't. And Australia is against it, and you have to have the permission from the community. No matter, there's no laws against it. There's no laws to change this, revert this. No, you have to have permission from the community before you build it.
And it was Texas. It was Texas who didn't ask permission and didn't realize and didn't maintain it after they did the thing, and that's what caused the leak.
And that's likely what caused the change.
In Alberta, I think it was Alberta, Texas, wasn't it? But no, it was Texas's deal at that point. Vermont had washed its hands of that by that point.
Mm-hmm.
So they're blaming Bernie for something that the people in Texas did.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, so Bernie wins. Let's say Bernie wins, and he passes climate change. The difficult part is getting some of the poor countries who rely on coal. That's a real issue. That's really an issue for the environment today. Is the really poor countries' reliance on coal and the power. They have their own rich class which is in charge. India, you have rich classes and things like that.
No, I'm talking about just in the United States. Doing the United States.
It's not enough, because the United States actually isn't that bad when it comes to green. The amount of our wind power, the amount of power we're getting from wind power is set to be like 20% by 2025. We're doing really good. We're doing really good.
Meanwhile,
that actually is true.
145% of their power from wind.
Yeah, it's amazing. Especially with strategic placing. Now they've accurately mapped winds. They actually have a wind map in the United States that they're using that to plant the wind farms.
It actually is true that the U.S. isn't the worst for pollution, at all. The worst is China.
But even they're improving. Even they're actually now more and more often they're actually turning away. Their own citizens are actually kind of rising up in some ways, and they're sick and tired of the pollution, of that orange fog that just it hovers over the cities. Their own citizens are demanding that, hey, look, we don't want this anymore. So what you've actually seen China cracking down on their coal plants, and they're actually changing. Believe it or not,
what's crazy about China though? Look at population density, like a map of population density in China.
Yeah,
I always find that very odd.
But actually, believe it or not, their efforts to lower their emissions are credited to why in 2014 the emissions stalled. They were actually credited with that. Because the fact that their efforts to reduce their in honesty is they're getting rid of their coal plants and they're switching to oil and things like that. So and they're also switching to nuclear. So
see, I think that we just need to go ahead and have a very, very strong worldwide push directed from the UN. Whatever you need to do to get it done, keep the shit in the ground and prop yourself up some wind turbines, wave power generators from the ocean, and some good old solar panels. Because
but forcing small countries, that's never had a good history.
But I'm sorry, but if you've got small countries that depend on this other stuff, there should be an incentive from the neighboring countries to help that country get that done, and it will create jobs within that country. If they're
Right,
trying,
but like you have warring African nations that
Yeah.
literally are sitting right next to each other. Those nations are using coal oil. They're not. There's how do you get inside there? Because they're already in war. So their efforts, their minds, their thought process are completely separate from ours. They don't have the ability to go, how am I hurting the earth? They don't have the ability to sit down and think.
well,
So
They have to think about surviving day to day in Africa. They don't really think about the kind of things we do.
right.
No,
Our issues are first world issues. They're not third world issues by any chance.
What's the total population density concerning things like around major cities in Africa and their pollution rates, though? That's my question.
In South Africa, I believe it's
Their fault. They do take care.
In South Africa, I believe South Africa is a little more advanced than most of the.
I'm gonna put this
they do
elementary
have
school
clean
between
cities.
two landfills.
But India definitely has. They said that they were going to try to reduce their coal intake. The problem is that again they have these rich ruling classes that literally control sections of areas, and they own slaves. They own slaves. And the police don't. The police will not take the slaves away. They'll actually bring them back.
The servants of the ruling class, you say?
Well, not only servants. Like you have children who are in brick factories.
Yeah.
And they have like entire families. It's kind of like the plantations in the blacks in the early South.
Yeah.
I mean, they live there, but they're trapped. And if they try to escape, the police will actually bring them back.
See, what's crazy to me about that, though, is it's not the same as it is in the U.S., but there are striking similarities between the Indian caste system and the way that wealth in general is just set up throughout the world, but especially here in the U.S. So, like, you think about it. I've heard several other people talk about it concerning slavery back in the day in our country, and how the rich white elites in the south of the country convinced the poor white people in the south that it was somehow harming them as poor white people to go ahead and abolish slavery. Even though technically it's just creating possible jobs for the poor white people.
Right.
So whenever you look at it in that standard, like in India, if they have these ruling elites that are staying with dirty energy because it's profitable to them, it's very much the same here in the U.S.
I mean, we actually have pretty similar characteristics to the Indian people. We're not too far off when it comes to similarities and similar social structures, especially like the structure of how the rich
our
dominate.
social structure is just a little more covert than theirs, I think. Like Indian people come out right out and say it. Here it's a little more hush hush.
Secret bribes in the government and such. Lobbyists getting laws passed in their favor, and people don't seem to pay a lot of attention to it for some reason.
They honestly don't care. That's the only reason I've talked to plenty of Hillary supporter, and I asked them about that, and it's almost like they're like, oh, I don't care. People have to make money somehow, and they don't realize what that money's going to do, whose interest it's for, how it actually clogs up our government for the benefit of some businesses. So our government's supposed to be buying for the people, and that's supposed to mean all the people. And it doesn't sadly mean that anymore.
Yeah, like, people seem to act like all the big corporations and rich people just give campaign donations out of the kindness of their little hearts.
Yeah. I mean, both Kenny and I admire some really rich people. Like, I admire Warren Buffett. I admire, in some ways, Mark Zuckerberg. I admire... But the commonality between all those people who are obscenely rich is that they believe that, the people, they believe themselves that they need to pay more taxes. They believe themselves that people deserve things like health care.
I think Warren Buffett was earned income tax. I think it was his thing. I think that was his way of changing how do we redistribute the wealth. It was earned income tax credit. I think it was earned income tax credit.
Yeah.
And that's been his thing, and he Warren Buffett's always kind of been that way. His father was actually Warren Buffett himself ran for the Republican delegation when he was in college, and he was part of the Young Republicans Club. But it was actually the civil rights movement that changed him to a Democrat, because he saw that if it was any party that was going to make true progress in this, it was going to be the Democrats.
Well, see, here's my thing.
And he's been a Democrat since.
Said earlier, Warren Buffett comes out and talks about why he changed his mind and how things happened in his life. You know what we don't hear from Hillary Clinton? Okay, I went from being a Goldwater girl to being this because I saw that, that the civil rights movement stuff was worth having. And if she does say it, the genuineness in her voice that most people are capable of hearing is just not there. So whenever I hear her talking back in 2004 about gay marriage and stuff, and her saying she believes in traditional marriage, I don't know if she actually believes that she does believe in traditional marriage. At that point there, I don't know that that's actually true. I can't feel it. There's no conviction. Whenever she says now she's okay with it, she may have always been okay with it. That's not the point. The point is her opinion of it changed right around the time that the polls did. Warren Buffett would not change his opinion based on polls. Warren Buffett changed his opinion based on the principles of what he was involved with.
The funny thing is someone asked him the key to longevity because he's like 89. He's like, I drink 6 Diet Cokes. He says I drink 6 cherry Cokes a day. Apparently, the only vegetables he's ever eaten is strawberry shortcake and like a banana sundae. That's pretty much the only vegetable fruits.
Back to what Justin said about Hillary. She switches so frequently, and within such a short span of time, it's hard to gauge what she actually believes.
Yeah, because there have been issues like let's talk about what she said to the West Virginia coal people recently versus what she's been saying about coal, and within literally the same week, it changed. And then guess what? When she left West Virginia, it changed back again. That's my point. Is it's not necessarily where someone comes to a conclusion and realizes that they're wrong about something. It's literally it changes to suit the audience she's speaking to.
Oh, yeah. There are 2 other times she did that. After the Iowa caucus. My bad. After the Iowa caucus, literally 2 days before it, she was all like, "Universal healthcare will never ever happen." But then, like, after she won that state, she came out and said that she was for it.
And then now she's against it again. Whenever she said universal, and she is defined among her own supporters, because I've heard several of them say it, that all universal means is that everyone has health care. Not that, and while that's true in some regards, it's not really what universal means. Universal health care means that everyone, no matter where they're at, whether they can afford it or not, can go and get medical treatment to the nth degree without having to worry about insurance premiums. She's talking about affordable insurance. And the funny thing about the word affordable is it assumes that it's actually affordable.
Affordable to the rich people.
It's just a buzzword.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, the ACAs would have been great in a lot of respects, but guess still can't afford insurance, and I got penalized on it in my taxes. I'm like, there's no way. Like, look at it this way. I worked for a place that I could have got health insurance, but my take-home pay afterwards would have been literally almost nothing. My wife works full-time as a CNA on 3rd shift, doing midnight options and all that shit, right? She works doing that. If she were to take the health care offered to her by her employer, she would bring home $200 every 2 weeks. That's ridiculous. That's not enough to survive on. We could get food stamps, but guess what? We've got other bills to pay that we can't pay with food stamps.
The ACA, it mostly raised rates for most people, and it subsidized private insurance companies. It's really not that great.
No, it's essentially it's the same thing we do for
just an
oil,
insurance mandate.
Yeah. It's the same like within any other industry. Like it's like a mandate on some sort of taxable bracket system. It's not set up to help us, even though it's worded like it's helping us. It's like, yeah, some people are now covered when they weren't. That's great. Good job. All right. But the problem is it's not, all it's really doing is making the insurance companies richer. Just like the way we deal with oil is just making the oil companies richer. Just like the way we deal with pharmaceutical companies is just making the pharmaceutical companies more wealthy. I mean, and it's not wealth to the extent that they're gaining this wealth because they're actually returning something to society in the form of wealth, in the form of health for the people. It's that they're just getting more money for the same standard of healthcare we've had. It's ridiculous.
And there are all these people who toe a party line and talk about the ACA like it's great when it's not.
You know, like, here's my thing, and I argued for it against Republicans because before the ACA, that was worse than what it is now, in some ways, but in other ways, it's worse than what it was before.
Did you guys catch a report that apparently the third major killer in the United States should actually be medical mispractice?
Yeah, I saw that, but here's why I don't necessarily. It's true, it's definitely true, but it's anytime that you go to a doctor and you're going to have surgery under a surgeon or something like that, there is a risk. That's why there's malpractice insurance. Like, it doesn't matter how good the doctor is, something might happen and you might die.
Yeah, but it's also, but that's not all. That wasn't just that. I mean, it was a lot of prescribing the wrong medication, not knowing history well enough, and giving people things that they were actually allergic to. It was also giving somebody who took too much medication to the point where they OD'd.
Poorly practiced medicine. In other words,
poorly practiced medicine. Yes.
Poorly educated doctors in the end run.
Not poorly educated doctors. Doctors who like money. They're educated. They knew exactly what they were doing in some respects.
Well, I will say that most doctors are probably not. Okay. I will say that there's probably a good number of cases that are malpractice where the doctor simply was not educated well enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I will say that most doctors are decent people and they're not out to get you. But that doesn't account for everybody. Just like in my wife's field, there are people who go do that job because they genuinely care about the well-being of the elderly. And then there are people who go to that job to get some money from it and don't really give a shit about old people.
Right.
But in general, generally whenever I hear people talk against doctors, they're also talking against medicine in general, and they go down that whole homeopathic alternative medicine thing crap.
I don't believe that shit.
Yeah, it's horseshit in total. Don't
be wrong. I believe in healthy eating, things like that. Getting your oils, getting your amino acids. That's pretty much the extent of it.
Well, I believe in radiation therapy, where you hold uranium for like 3 hours, and the radium poisoning heals you completely. Totally legit.
It gives you superpowers.
Yep.
Allows you to see through people's skins. Just the skin, not like their clothes or anything. But
so that wouldn't be very useful.
So they kind of
that muscle.
That's from that movie. What is it? The one that talks about capitalism and Obey. I can't remember that movie's name.
They Live.
Yeah. You put on the glasses and all of a sudden it's like artwork. You see their face. Yeah. But no, like I hate a lot of things, but it turns out at the end of the day, most of them are people. And usually when people hate people, they hate like a people. They hate people that of this certain kind, or like they're racist or they're sexist or they're whatever, phobic of whatever group of people. If I had to give myself a phobic title for what kind of people I hate, I would say there's two groups. There's the willfully ignorant, and then there's the people who spread the misinformation. And those two groups overlap, right? So there's people who genuinely probably are okay people and want to know what's going on and stuff, and they believe tripe that comes from people about coconut oil and all this other crap and how it's supposed to heal you and stuff. And then there's people like Dr. Oz, who is a doctor, but is knowingly lying to you. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I always said this. I have no problem with that. Like anybody, if like like YouTube people have their own products. They shout out their own products, or they shout out the products of people they know. They sponsor items.
Yeah.
I have no problem if people do that. You gotta make your money your way. I understand that. I don't. Just don't tell me bullshit.
Well, yeah, I just have a problem with like someone like Dr. Oz because he's supposed to be a medical doctor, yet he's hoisting up alternative medicine as if it's to be respected, as if these products are actually worth buying for anyone, as if these products are actually going to do anything they say they're going to do.
Well, coconut oil is a healthy fat. If you don't want to use butter, or you want to use vegetable, or you don't want to use canola oil, you can use coconut oil. Coconut oil is actually a healthy oil to use.
Yeah, but it's not.
Mediterranean used it in their food for many years. It's actually not bad type of fat.
Actually, and other people who are in the whole medicine kind of scam where they just sell garbage and pass it off as medicine is like the New Agers who sell crystals or whatever else. They're some of the worst.
The chakra people who think that you can, like, literally, I was watching
the people that like drink pee and stuff.
Like spirit science.
Yeah, spirit science. Like I was watching. Did any of you know about Miles Powers on YouTube? He goes through and he debunks all kinds of this crap. Basically, all he does, right, on YouTube is debunk shit. And he got this thing, right? It's how to fix your cat's chakras, and you pay like $30 for this little booklet that comes with these marbles or these stones of different colors, and you're supposed to get the cat to lay still and set whatever is supposedly ailing your cat, like digestive issues. You set the stone on its belly and shit, and then think positive thoughts about the cat. It's supposed to fucking actually work. And people buy that thinking that it makes me want to have an aneurysm.
I heard a similar story like that. And actually, you know who Misha? Do you guys know who Misha Tate is? Misha Tate. She was a UFC fighter. She beat Holly Holmes recently. But she's a women's UFC fighter. But she said that she got like real sick when she was little. She had like 3 different. She had hepatitis B. She had Rye disease. She had like 3 different conditions. I don't know what the third one was. She had chicken pox, which then led to her getting hepatitis B, which then led her getting to Rye disease. And she said that what her mother said, and this is part of that old generation. Her mother said, visualize you cleaning your liver out. You're like visualize that your liver is healthy and it's clean and it's happy and it's doing wonderful. And she actually uses visualizations to help her. She says she uses visualizations for after fights to help her heal. Okay. Now she doesn't say she's not 100% positive it works, but it's something that she does.
Okay, people can do that all they want, but here's the thing: like if you're trying to battle something like cancer, or terminal illness, or other illnesses that could be potentially life-threatening, it helps to keep a positive outlook, no doubt. Because if you can keep the dopamine flowing and you don't get depressed, you're going to be more lively, more active, and you're going to move around and you're going to stay healthier. But sitting there thinking about healing yourself is not actually going to make yourself heal any faster. It's gonna make you feel better about the ordeal. It's a placebo effect.
But the funny thing is that there's also another story. Now this man had brain cancer, and the doctors gave him like 6 months to live, and it had grown to parts where they couldn't get at and they couldn't get it out. So this man was told he had 6 months to live.
Yeah.
And he said that every night, what he did is that he visualized himself the shovel digging out the cancer, the shovel. Every night he did that, and then when at 6 months when he went in back to the doctors, they said his cancer was gone.
You know what's more likely here? There's 2 scenarios that are more likely here than what he's saying. Okay. The first one is he lied.
All right.
And second one is the brain scans. Actually, there's three. The brain scans got mixed up with someone else's, and they're actually going to die.
There's more than that.
Or that there was no cancer to begin with, and that what they saw was an anomaly on the projection. If there's actually cancer there, it's not going to go away by you thinking about it. Even if
I don't know.
it
These
is
are just stories I hear. I mean, like, I don't know a whole lot of people. I'm just saying, like, imagine if like you knew a whole lot of people. How many of these stories they had to have heard?
No, like I know people who flat out believe those stories just on face value. Like my mom's one of them. I've really tried to help my mom come to the critical thinking thing, and she's gone a long way. I've got her all the way from being a creationist to now like not being a creationist. That was a big one. I got her now to be. She's voting for Bernie Sanders. The first time she's ever voted in her entire life. So she's obviously a lot more liberal-minded than she used to be. You know, what's odd to me is I remember back in the day living in Texas thinking all the Christian crap was normal. And now that my mom's made this progress, it's really funny to me that my older brother, my eldest brother, still thinks a lot of all that crap. But my mom doesn't. Because like my brother in a lot of ways can be quite the homophobe and quite the racist.
Oh, who? Brad?
Really.
Oh no! Brad's the one who led me away from it.
Oh, okay. It's the only brother I know you have.
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law.
Wow.
No, this is my eldest brother. I have my brother Jason, who's the eldest. My middle brother Kevin. I'm the youngest, and then my dad had one child named Sean, and he's an asshole.
Oh, Texas.
I was born in Kentucky, and then I
Down to south.
down south. Hey, Rhett, you're getting some
Drinking sweet tea,
yeah, sweet tea.
biscuits, and
Drinking some sweet tea.
Yeah,
That's funny. Justin is the Vermont liberal. Yeah, I was born there.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd, right? I was born in Kentucky, and then from Kentucky, when I was very young, I moved down to Texas, and then I moved from Texas to St. Louis, and I moved from St. Louis back to Texas, and I moved from there to California for very short time, and then moved back to Texas again. And then we moved from Texas to New Orleans, or Slidell, which is right north of Pontchartrain and New Orleans. And then we lived there for a while, and I moved back and forth between Louisiana and Texas because my parents were separated. And then we moved from there to Tennessee after Katrina hit. And then from Tennessee, I moved to Georgia. And then and I also lived in Indiana for a short time, somewhere in there. And then we moved, whenever I was in Georgia was the last place I was, and then I was an adult. And then I moved to Indiana, then back to Kentucky, and then back to Indiana again. But in all my travels, which isn't a lot of travels, I guess, it's just living in a bunch of different places in the U.S. So the coolest people I ever met were in Georgia. Indiana sucks balls. Kentucky is like prettier than Indiana, but it sucks just as much. Texas is the most horrible place I've ever lived in.
Ouch.
I currently live in Texas. Help me.
Yeah, I lived in Sherman and Denison area, and then I lived in Dallas and Fort Worth area, and then Houston for a little while.
Texas always seemed too tornado-y for me.
Everywhere in that area is tornado-y.
Yeah, no.
Oklahoma's worse.
Oklahoma is worse. I remember I was in Texas on a day when they had like 200 touchdowns in Texas and like 318 touchdowns in Oklahoma in one damn day.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. That's whenever I started taking the climate change shit seriously, because I went on and looked that up, and I was like, that's never happened before.
There was also that really massive one in Dallas like 2 or 3 years ago.
They destroyed that part of that high rise.
I think that's the one.
Yeah, that was one of the only times an F5 ever actually hit an urban area.
I think it was a mile wide, is what they said.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but whenever
Ridiculous.
I
I'm
think
sorry,
it's
I
like
couldn't do it.
whenever we have natural disasters, no one's there like this building was a controlled demolition, and they Illuminati, and they planned it with a tornado. Yeah, whenever it was a plane full of people crashing into a building, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the government done did it. It wasn't a natural disaster, so it must have been planned.
Hey, we at the Illuminati did not do 9/11. You can trust us.
You have
No.
it straight from the horse's mouth.
It was aliens.
I couldn't survive. I've always been wondering what a tornado is like, but I couldn't do it because I'm too much of a bitch when it comes to lightning.
Oh, I love
Lightning
it,
is like my number. I have like an inane fear, and also a feeling like one day I'm gonna get hit. I'm like destined to get hit by lightning one day. But I have an insane fear. I'm not insane, but basically, if lightning strikes and then all of a sudden I'm gone, that's a happen basically. Like
I will
one
say,
minute I'll be there, lightning strikes, I'm inside. I'm in the enclosed area that's not outside.
I will say
I'm
this:
gone.
if you were in North Carolina right now, you'd have more of a chance of some Republican asshole trying to look at your wiener than you do getting struck by lightning.
I do what?
Yeah, like your odds of having your junk looked at in a public restroom in North Carolina are higher than being struck by lightning.
Yeah, but I can't say it's any comfort.
It's not because that's pretty likely apparently. I'll say what else are you more likely to die from than lightning?
I don't
Or
know.
you're more likely to die from being like 300 pounds and, falling off your computer chair and breaking your neck.
Yeah. Lightning strikes a lot of places, but the actual surface area of the places it strikes on a daily basis is pretty small.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm destined to get hit by it, so I avoid it at all costs. And I have a fear of it. I just no plague. Lightning strikes, Kenny's nowhere because
I
you can't
love
find
it.
them.
I love summer storms.
I wish I could, because I don't mind thunderstorms. I don't mind storms. I don't mind when it rains. I don't have any issue with that.
I have the
I think
George Carlin mentality when it comes to weather and nature.
I think a lot of it has to do with the type of memories you have attached to things like that, like the rain, thunderstorm. I don't know, anything really. I've always had really good memories when storming. Whenever it's storming, I'm always really
In a good mood.
I'm in a good mood or at peace.
See, I have a George Carlin view of weather and nature and all that stuff. Even though I'm totally I'm so fucking virulently for trying to stop climate change, right? Every time I see a hurricane on the news, I'm like, I want it to get bigger. I want it to get huge. I want it to be gigantic. Whenever there's a storm outside, I want it to be so massive that it just wipes everything except for my house out. I just want to see that destruction. It's something deep inside me. I don't wish it upon anyone, but I would get satisfaction out of seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I always wondered what a tornado would be like, but I never wanted it to hit my house. It's just the lightning part kind of weird. But then again, I also have a fear of roller coasters. I have weird fears. I have a fear of heights, and I literally can't if it's a surface that I didn't climb up or anything like that, but I had to walk up a ladder or stairs, and I look down, and it's more than 10 feet, or even if it's 10 feet, no go. I'm not one of these people who can look down from a building because I feel like I'm gonna fall. But I can climb trees I love climbing trees. I can climb trees like nobody's business, and I can look out. I can look down. I can do that, but I can't ride a roller coaster. I can't be near lightning, and I can't climb any surface like a ladder more than 10 feet.